Okay, this is exciting, yet another Thread device from none other than Eve, the leader in Thread-enabled HomeKit accessories. This time, it's Eve WaterGuard, an accessory that I think every homeowner should seriously consider. In today's video, we're going to take a closer look at Eve WaterGuard and discuss all the features and benefits and compare it to the previous Eve WaterGuard that connected using Bluetooth only. Of course, we'll also talk about some automation possibilities, lots to talk about, so let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm the Lloyd, and if you're new here, well, on my channel I talk all about Apple HomeKit, discussing the latest products and tips to help you get the most out of your smart home. If you're not new here, then thanks for coming back to my channel. You likely already know a couple of my smart home obsessions, Eve being one and Thread being another. Eve makes well-designed, premium products for your smart home. They're laser focused on privacy, which I think is so important as more of our homes become smart. And for over a year now, Eve has been leading the way with HomeKit-enabled Thread technology. Part of Eve's commitment to privacy is making their devices available without a manufacturer hub, with no data stored in the cloud. So no extra hub? That's great, but prior to Thread, this meant heavily relying on Bluetooth. While energy efficient, it's also slow with not such great range. This made purchasing decisions difficult. On one hand, you have well-designed products that didn't need a hub, and on the other hand, you have products that require an additional hub, though they're often faster with better range. The choice is getting easier with the introduction of Thread. Eve now has a broad lineup of Thread-enabled devices. Nanoleaf was also early to the Thread game with several offerings, and Wemo recently released a firmware update to their Wemo Stage Smart Switch, which now makes it compatible with Thread too. Aqara has announced some new sensors that will be available this summer, as well as Eve, who's planning to release a motion sensor, smart light switch, and one of my favorite lights ever, Eve Flare, all with Thread. Eve has said their Thread products are Matter ready. This means Eve and other Matter certified accessories will soon work with even more smart home platforms. Okay, let's talk about Eve WaterGuard. What is it? Why is Thread significant? And why should you consider adding this to your smart home? First of all, this video isn't sponsored, although Eve did send me their new Eve WaterGuard to test out for my honest opinion. Eve WaterGuard is a leak sensor and includes a 2-meter cable that detects water leaks and can instantly notify you visually, audibly, and via notifications on your iPhone. For most Thread accessories, I would immediately claim speed as the most important benefit. A couple of seconds faster is significant when it comes to door and window sensors, motion sensors, or smart plugs, but probably not so significant in this case. I suppose you could argue that 2 additional seconds of warning could make the difference between minor and major water damage, but the real advantage in my opinion is reliability. I've been testing Thread products for over a year and I found them to be much more reliable and have better range than Bluetooth. When a product is meant to warn you of serious potential issues like Eve WaterGuard is, it needs to absolutely work. It's one of those things that you hope you never need to use, but it sure better work when it's supposed to. Luckily, I haven't had any issues with my existing Eve WaterGuard not responding. Since it works off Bluetooth, it's helpful to have home hubs in range. This is how it communicates with HomeKit, and as previously mentioned, how you'll get your notifications when you're away from home. I have several HomePod minis nearby as well as an Apple TV, so reliability has been solid. Though even with good range, I still find my Thread accessories are more reliable. Eve WaterGuard has saved me a couple of times when my washing machine's gotten backed up. It's like that annoying alarm clock sound that you dread, but you're thankful it actually woke you up so you weren't late for work. Though there's an additional benefit to Thread being added to Eve WaterGuard. Similar to Eve Energy that plugs in, Eve WaterGuard is a full Thread device, so it contributes to your home's Thread mesh network. This improves the range of your Thread accessories that may be further away from your board or router, and it creates yet another potential path for your Thread accessories to communicate. So not only can you count on Eve WaterGuard being reliable, but it helps make your other Thread accessories more reliable as well. Worth mentioning, with any Thread accessories, you need a Thread board or router to get the benefits of Thread. This can be a HomePod mini or the 2021 Apple TV. Good news though, if you don't have a Thread board or router, all of Eve's Thread accessories will automatically work using Bluetooth, and you can add a board or router in the future and it will automatically connect using Thread, all without changing any settings. If you've ever had a leak in your home, I probably don't need to explain the benefits. And if you haven't had any water damage, well, you're lucky and we should probably try to keep it that way. I will say that I've been pretty fortunate, though we did have a small leak once when the kids overflowed the bathtub, and a larger leak once when the hose on our washing machine became loose and flooded our laundry room floor. Luckily, we just happened to be close by and we noticed the leak before any significant damage was done. Had we caught this 5 or 10 minutes later, it would have likely been a very different story. This is when I realized though, I need a water leak sensor to make sure this doesn't happen again. There's so much plumbing in the home and things can go wrong. We're in the process of having our basement finished. I'm really excited for more living space down here, though as you can imagine, it's an expensive renovation. Basements are well known for flooding and water damage is a common home insurance claim. The basement is also where we have our water heater, so being able to catch any leaks as soon as they occur is going to be crucial in protecting our investment. To be clear, Eve WaterGuard cannot prevent or stop a leak, but it will instantly notify you so you can take action to turn off the water valve or dishwasher or grab a bucket to catch the leaking water from the pipe until it gets fixed. As long as you have a home hub such as a HomePod, iPad, or an Apple TV HD or higher, then you can receive notifications even when you're away from home, hopefully giving you time to call a neighbor, friend, or family member, or even rush home to mitigate the damage. It's also a good idea to consider other fail-safe accessories when possible, including a smart water shutoff. I'll link a couple of other great videos from Eric Wiehlander and HomeKit Authority in the description that cover this in more detail and have some other great ideas on how to get the most out of Eve WaterGuard. Leaking water, which in some cases can go undetected for long periods of time, can result in hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in damage. Nobody plans for these situations to happen, but if you're like me, you feel better knowing Eve WaterGuard is there to alert you of any leaks. After my laundry room flooded, I was scared to leave the house with the washing machine running until I added Eve WaterGuard. Let's take a closer look at the unit itself. Here's the cable, which is 2 meters in length. You can also add 2-meter extensions for approximately $39 Canadian with a maximum length of 150 meters. Here's the main unit that plugs in. There are advantages to smaller battery-operated sensors. First of all, they typically are less expensive, though may require hubs, so look out for that. Since they don't have to be plugged in, you're not limited to finding an electrical outlet, which can be really useful. The disadvantage is that they don't get nearly as loud, you don't get the same visual alerts, and since they're battery operated, well, batteries die over time, which means either replacing the battery, or much worse, not having it work that one time you actually need it. Lastly, since Eve WaterGuard plugs in and uses the cable to detect water, it can cover a much larger area than smaller battery-operated sensors. In my home, I have battery-operated leak sensors as well as Eve WaterGuard. The battery-operated sensors are helpful for my bathrooms where I don't have easy access to an outlet. Though in my laundry room where the risk is the highest, I'm using Eve WaterGuard. And this new one, it's going in my basement, so once it's finished, I can reasonably feel confident that it will stay water-free. Obviously, this isn't going to reach the full length of my basement, although it could if I really wanted it to. But I'm going to keep this by the water tank and the dehumidifier, which drains excess moisture during those hot summer months. This is the part of the basement that will remain unfinished. In the unfortunate event of a water leak in this unfinished part, I stand a good chance at catching it before any major damage occurs. As far as design goes, you can see it's basically identical to the previous Bluetooth version of Eve WaterGuard. In this case, all the changes are on the inside with that new Thread radio. Let's get this installed, then test it out. Like most HomeKit devices, installation is a breeze and only takes a couple of minutes. Now let's test this out. I will warn you, this is extremely loud. Between the audio, visual, and iPhone notifications, it's pretty safe to say if there's a leak, you're going to know about it. You know I like automations, so what's possible with Eve WaterGuard? As you saw and heard, it's pretty hard to miss when things go off, though if you want to take it a step further, you could always turn smart lights throughout your house red, or play particular music on your HomePod. Perhaps you could even turn the lights on in the room where you have Eve WaterGuard. So let's say it's the middle of the night, it might be helpful to have the lights automatically come on. You could also pair this with a smart plug like I'm doing here. If my washing machine is leaking, Eve Energy will turn my washing machine off to hopefully contain the situation until the water can be cleaned up and the issue is fixed. I'm always looking for automation ideas, so if you have any automations that you think others would like to know about, then post them in the comments. Eve WaterGuard sells on the Eve online store for $99.99 US, so currently around $133 Canadian. It's not currently available on Amazon, but should be in the future. I'll have links in the description, and once I see it's available from Amazon, I'll add that link as well. Around $130 Canadian for some peace of mind is well worth the cost in my opinion, and can actually save you money if you do have a water leak event, though hopefully you don't. Let me know your thoughts on Eve WaterGuard, and if you've had a leak sensor save your home from damage, then share your story in the comments. That's it for this week, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.